Hello and welcome to another episode of Title Issues, the world's finest comic book podcast. As always, we're your hosts. I'm Ibi.
And I'm Benny. This week we'll be talking about Season 1 of Spawn, the animated series.
A retrospective where we're going to talk about all the things we love, hate, and everything in between.
Hey, Ivy, watch this. And now Spawn, so turn your lights off.
And now Spawn, so turn off your lights.
It's a comic world and we're your guide, with passion and laughs on this nerdy ride. Grab your snacks, tune in, let's go. Welcome to Title Issues, where the comics glow.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Alright, so Spawn, the animated series. I guess we both watched Season 1.
Yes.
I'll be honest. When you first brought up Spawn, I was kind of hesitant to watch it because I wasn't too familiar with the character. Like, I knew the origins of the character. I knew some stuff from the comics, from like the social zeitgeist around it. But like, Spawn was never a character that I was too interested in. So like, this series was not like something that I was looking forward to. But like, I'm glad that we watched it. What's your Spawn?
So
background?
there's a positive sentiment.
Yeah. What's your Spawn background? Like, what's your Spawn ground?
My spawn point was many years ago. I came across like a statue of Spawn. I'm an avid collector of different comic book statues, dioramas, figures, and stuff like that. And he just has a really cool design. And he also has a very interesting like set of characters around him. So some of the dioramas are like huge pieces and stuff. And I was just drawn to it. And this was like, I don't know, like anywhere between 15 to 20 years ago. So I grabbed a couple of the action figures and stuff. And then I was introduced to his comics. I started reading his comics. Got pretty far into those. I am not finished or caught up in Spawn comics. And Spawn comics they're kind of like sequential. Like you kind of need to
Follow
know
them in
what
order.
happened before. Yeah. It's not like DC. It's not like Marvel. It's not like where like they're like
you can just
short
pick up a
stories.
random issue and
Yeah,
close.
and I think Todd McFarlane's also involved like always. Like there's different artists that come in every now and then, but I think he's writing all the time. Maybe with a co-writer sometimes. So it's like it's very flowy, and there were reset points almost, but it wasn't like New 52 or like something like that where like Rebirth where things just get reset. It's more like something big actually happens, and like it'll take the Spawn that we know out of action, and like someone else.
Yeah, I know that fact. I know like at some points they swapped over Spawn, and then there's like Spawn Prime and different versions of it and so on.
Yeah, exactly.
With that being said, this retrospective is mostly going to be spoilers. We're going to talk about our ideas, what we thought, what we liked, disliked, and
it's going to be mostly about the animated series. So if you haven't read the comics and you want to read those, go for it. This isn't my first time I've seen the show. I think I didn't mention that. I've seen the show before. It's Benny's first introduction.
Yeah, I've never seen it before.
Okay, Benny. So you were hesitant. You didn't know what you thought going into this. So why don't you give us your initial thoughts on the show?
Yeah. I was really hesitant about. Like I've seen clips about the show. And the art style felt a bit weird. Like the animation felt wonky. The style looked good, but like the animation felt wonky for the clips that I've seen. Also, like Spawn is one of those characters that's like really dark, so it's like not my cup of tea when it comes to comics. I like my comics a bit more joyful-ish. But
interesting coming from a Batman fan.
Yeah, I like underwear Batman. I like Batman with the underwear outside. It's honestly
you like Bat Ninjas.
Yeah, I like Bat Ninjas. I like the weird comic wiki canons, all the weird stuff, like Mr. Mixie Spitlick, Batmite. No, but like I'm actually glad I checked it out. Like it felt like this show was really good. It was better than I expected. If you go in with like low expectations, it's gonna be amazing for you.
Yeah, that's for sure. If you don't know what to expect, and it was one of the first like superhero R-rated cartoons of its time, so it was also like groundbreaking when it did come out. But like it's weird. I mean, it's less jarring to see that now than it probably was at that time. Like we're so used to
honestly
like,
R-rated animated superhero stuff is pretty rare. Like what do we have? There's Invincible. Maybe?
Invincible, which is another Image Comics published serial, right? Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, it's like it's still rare to this day. And
Yeah.
you can tell that they've spent a lot of money on it. Like HBO picked it up and they were like, "Hey, you have complete creative freedom.
Creative control. Yeah.
Yeah, have fun with this. Do what you want." And the animation might make it seem cheap, but like if you actually look at the characters and the character design and like what they lack in animation, they make up for in like how they stylize it. So it's
Yeah, it really does feel like a comic book come to life, like as an animation. It's not an animated film; it's like a comic book that's been animated for film. So that was really cool to see, for sure.
So yeah, Todd McFarlane's Spawn. Let's talk about the man himself, Todd McFarlane. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because of what you said in the intro. I'm laughing at because I have in my notes on the season. I have that I really like these intros, but I'm guessing from the general vibe is you felt like maybe they were too much or like very corny.
They were very corny, but they were also off the time. They felt very 90s. And like one thing that I need to like keep in mind is that this show came out relatively soon after Spawn was first created. Like I think what was it? Like there was like a 5-year gap between them, between like
something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, like I think it was a big part of this where like Todd had to like introduce what Spawn is, because this might have been the entry point for a lot of people, not knowing who Spawn. Though Image Comics, when they first started, they did good numbers. They were pretty popular.
I think it was hitting a different audience. You know? I think like there, just like today, there's a lot of people that know superheroes through movies and TV shows and cartoons. They didn't know them through comic books, right? So even though Spawn was the #1 selling comic book at the time, it doesn't always mean
doesn't fully translate to everyone knows about this.
Exactly. 100%.
So I do get why they did this, and it's a creative choice. Like it's also another thing that you see in the like they've spent money on this. It's not like Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, the set looks so good. Like the set behind them looks really nice. I what I really liked about these intros is I felt like they were giving you the theme of the day sort of thing, like how you should frame everything that you're about to see through the perspective of the writer, which I really liked. You know, like Todd McFarlane's all about creative control, and in a way he's kind of trying to control how we view this episode by setting it up with this like provocative questions.
Open questions, and then
so they provoke these certain train of thought that he wants you to have while watching this episode, which I really like, because it's like if you ever go to like a fancy restaurant, right, and you're being served something, they often like describe the dish to you, so you look for those notes and those hints. And I just thought like I'd never seen that anywhere else, and so I felt like it's like I let myself you know, like really dive into what he's asking me to dive into.
It's part of the experience. Like looking back at it from like 2025, it does look kind of weird. It does look kind of, the closest thing that's similar to this that I can think of is Jackie Chan, the animated series, where like Jackie Chan would show up at the end and just talk about like random stuff. Even though like Jackie Chan didn't actually voice Jackie Chan in that series, but like it's
he just show up and chat. I would love to see this used more often. I would love to be guided a little bit. I know there's a lot of artistic prowess in being able to you know, not hold people's hands
and tell them like, hey, this is what you're gonna experience.
But I think there's also artistic prowess in doing the complete opposite, right? It's to give them a taste of something and then give them, you know, I don't know, like it's like giving them colors and then asking them to paint the canvas based on your description. And I really like that. I really like the fact that he was like, you know, like think about it, like what would you do if you were in his spot, which made the choices that Al Simmons made throughout the show interesting to me, because I started thinking like, would I do that? I feel like I wouldn't do this, or I feel like I'll be more upset about this, or you know what I mean? And it just made it made understanding his struggle better. Like, I don't know, it just framed things differently for me and made me feel like I was a participant in what was happening.
Like, here's the thing that I do want to touch upon a lot in this series is that this series did not look cheap. Did not feel cheap either. This was part of it, you know, like they could have easily just had animation there or something, but like they actually brought in the creator, had him film vignettes that were really well filmed. Talk about the show.
Knowing Todd McFarlane, they probably struggled to not get him in.
Not get him to do so.
Like he was like, I want to be in it. They're like, okay, we'll get an animation. He's like, no. I want to be in it.
No, this show was really, really stylized, and it works both in its favor and against it. One term in like animation and character design is called line mileage, which is like how much detail you add to a character. It's more than just detail, but like in its core, it's just how much detail there is in a character. The higher the line mileage, the more detailed the character is. And then if a character has high line mileage, that translates to like harder to animate because like there's a lot of details there. It's harder to like move the character around and stuff. And I feel like that was
Yeah,
a
for
choice.
sure.
That was a choice that they made in order to make Spawn more like my go-to example for this is Batman the Animated Series, where like when
Okay.
they switched styles midway, like between season 3 and season 4,
Yeah.
and you can see like they went for a lower line mileage in the
Yeah.
character just to make the animations easier, pop more, and that's what I feel like they did with in this show. They went the opposite route. They were like, no, we want high line mileage. Maybe because the character was new and they wanted to like show what he looked like from the comics, but like it felt like an intentional choice. Like the lack
Yes,
of animation
100%.
fluidity felt like an intentional choice because they wanted to go with like high detailed
High
character.
fidelity. Yeah, 100%. And like the first time I ever watched the show, I had seen it shortly after seeing Batman the Animated Series again, not for the first time, but
Okay.
again. And then I just was like, wow, these are so close, and it feels like this one was animated like 5 years before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how come this other one is smoother? And but then as I watched, the more I realized like there's a lot more happening in every single scene.
Every single
the
frame too,
characters-
right? Like you
yeah,
can pause
exactly.
it at any frame and it does look like something that you can frame.
Yeah, 100%. So I felt like, okay, I see it, you know. And remember, this it's 10 episodes,
6.
whereas the animated, sorry, 6 episodes, yeah. Whereas the animated series was like,
Yeah, we were 18 to
like 20.
20, depending on the season. Yeah.
yeah. So they trimmed down the story that's being told for it, and you see that, by the way, this thing departs from the comics
Oh,
significantly.
actually, cool.
Yes.
I did
So
not know that. This is my
Yeah.
definitive Spawn.
Yeah. So it departs from the comics, not in a way where it changes the story per se, but things are chopped and pieced together differently. So the sequence of events that's occurring is not necessarily the sequence of events that occurs in the comics, like not in that order. And there are certain things that are changed. I want to say to be more traditional storytelling, and we'll touch on those like as we discuss the story a bit more.
Yeah, but before we get into the story, let's talk a bit about the production here. You mentioned it. They did bring in some producers from Batman the Animated Series. You can also see high influences from the animated series and like the sky.
100%.
Yeah, the sky in Rat City. It's red and it's got like a red background and stuff. They also brought in Shirley Walker, who's the composer for the animated series, and music sounds really good in this show.
There's one scene where I felt like the music was really weird. It was in a scene where
I think I know which scene you're talking about. It was in the finale, right?
It was like with Billy Kincaid. I don't think it was in the finale. It was like was that I forget exactly, because like I said, the sequence of events in the show is different than the comics. So I forget, I guess, where in the show these specific events happen. But it's the ice cream killer, the Billy Kincaid is being hunted by Spawn, and the song goes like.
Yeah,
Like,
that is the song I'm talking about. It's in the finale.
Yeah.
It sounds like cats, but not. It sounds like cats in the alley, but not really. And I was like, oh, is this supposed to be a cat, or is it supposed to?
Yeah. I don't know. That one like really, after a certain amount of time, just like bothered me. I was like, okay, like
I thought it was cool.
This has been looping for so long. Oh, really?
Yeah,
You liked it?
Yeah, it felt like demonic in a way where it's like fits Spawn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Like, and I understand. Like, I understand the use of it. It just felt like it was such a short loop, you know, like, and it just looped over and over and over. And I was like, okay, like, do something different. Which it's interesting because I also felt like the music in general was so great.
But
the fact
you're right though. That moment did stick out.
Yeah. Like, see, the fact that you remembered it. I don't know. It just it didn't feel like up to par with everything that I'd heard before in the season. It's just weird.
I wanted more of it, you know. Maybe you don't like cats,
Fair.
but like
No, I love cats. You're just trying to set me up as a villain again. I love cats. I thought the music was great. I thought the production quality was amazing. It just that one song that was just like, okay, like this is a bit too much maybe. But again, that's subjective. Like if you liked it and I didn't like it, then maybe that was like a choice that they all felt was like, oh, great.
Great, yeah.
Someone else likes
it. It was good. I enjoyed it. Okay.
What do you think of the character?
Okay, so
I know I'm super interested in this. I'm gonna cut you off and ask you, like, what about Spawn as a character, as a comic book anti-hero? What do you think of Spawn?
Okay, so my perception of Spawn is basically what I've seen in the zeitgeist. I've seen, like, I also remember watching parts of the old movie, which I think came out the same year. And I remember like the CGI cape and stuff. Like, but like I don't. All I've seen of Spawn is what we see in media, you know. what you'd see in like whether it's commercials or ads or clips, and it's just the brooding part of Spawn, like the dark mastermind evil dude that goes around and kills people. But like watching this series, it was like, oh, there's a lot more to him than that. Like, you know, he's depressed for most of it. He's trying to like figure out his backstory, and it's like,
I do want to say that the comics do that differently too. Like in the comics, he's a lot closer with the bums, with the homeless people.
The homeless people in Cat Alley.
Yeah, he like calls them bums at first, and then he starts to call them family, like in the same span, not like towards the end of anything, like literally in whatever the season spans. By the end of it, he's like that with them, and they get drunk together and they sing. And
they grow on him, right? It's like
no, like more than grow on him, like he does so much for them, like to protect them. Like here, it's in the show, it's more framed like I just want to be left alone kind of thing, you know. But in the show, it's more like they help him.
In the comic, you mean?
In the comics, it's more like they help him through his memories, like regaining his memories and like sorting things out. So he is a bit more like protective of them. Like he wants the police and the thugs and the criminals out of the alley, not because he wants to be left alone, but that is part of it, obviously. But it's also because he wants these homeless people, his family, left alone as well.
Yeah, I like that. It's a found family aesthetic, which they do kind of touch upon in the series. Like he is pushing away from them, but they are trying to like he does warm up to them. You can tell that he has this protective nature over them.
Yeah, and I think even the narrator in the show kind of like goes over that a little bit. He goes like, oh, like every hellspawn gravitates towards like a place where he seeks refuge from like the world and whatever. Yeah. And he says this spawn chose this alley.
One thing that I did find interesting is the origins of Spawn. I thought that we were going to go directly into the origins, but that didn't happen. And then I thought, okay, we'll probably get it throughout the season. But we didn't actually get it that much, you know what I mean? Like,
no.
There were hints here and there. And I do know a bit about Spawn's origin, so like I was able to like pick up on those hints, but like it does feel like we're not touching this right now. It's, hey, just enjoy this character for who he is. He wants to see his ex-wife, and that's all you're getting right now.
And I think part of that is the same reasoning behind why like Todd McFarlane is there in the intro. He really wants you to experience things with Al Simmons, like as he's going through this journey. He wants you to be side by side with him in terms of like what you know, the confusion, the frustration, the emotion, the celebration when like there's a victory and so on.
The confusion too, right? And it's
exactly. So I think that's part of it. So they were like, you know what, like we're telling the story from the perspective of the protagonist, not like you're not some like omnipotent viewer who's just like observing everything and knows a bit more than the protagonist. It's rarely the case. It still is the case. Like we still get to see like
other
characters, but at the same time, we don't know more about what's happening to Spawn than Spawn knows himself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like and we hear about a deal with some devil entity called Malboja.
Malboja, yeah. And like since we're talking about him as a character as well, I have to say, like having read the comics and then seeing this, there is an extra layer that's brought to life here with Keith David's performance. It's so good, and like it carries the character so much. Like in the comics, he is a one-liner character. Like he will give his badass, and it carries forward here, you know, and it's just the delivery of the performance. Like there's Tony Twist, who is like one of the like mob bosses in the show. He gets like Spawn keeps calling him a fat boy like throughout the show, like you fat boy. Like I thought I told you, you fat boy. Like and he like throws him around.
All I want is a little peace and quiet. Got it, fat boy.
And I think that's so great. Like, and it's like Keith David's performance, and that carries forward even when Spawn is brought into other things. Like he's a DLC character in one of the Mortal Kombat games, Mortal Kombat 11. And in those like intros where he's like talking to other characters and stuff, he says the funniest.
You're not from this realm.
No shit, Sherlock. Is it a problem?
There's one where it's something like
that's Keith Davis too. He's voicing.
Yeah, he voices him in the game as well. And there's one I think he says to the Joker, who's another DLC character, where he's like, "Oh, like I've dealt with clowns before," or something like that.
Sounds like you've got a case of the grumps.
I fucking hate clowns.
There's another one where he goes like, "I'm gonna flip you inside out, ass first," or something like that. Like,
I'll turn you inside out, ass first, clown.
It's so funny. Like I
Yeah.
love how serious he is, but the delivery is serious. But the thing itself, like the line he's dropping, is just
Just hilarious.
phenomenally funny. Yeah,
Yeah, I love Keith Davis. His voice has that gravitas to it, where it's like, oh wow, like this guy is speaking.
yeah. He's amazing, and he's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And like you rarely notice that it's him,
Mhm.
but when you do, you're like, ah, that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, people
Yeah.
say that I sound like Keith Davis a lot of the time. It's just,
yeah,
yeah. Why,
totally.
why are you laughing?
You wish.
Whoa. Me and Keith, bro,
Nah,
just
nah,
close
but-
your eyes. It's basically the same person
Oh.
talking right now. Hey, it's me, Spawn, voiced by Keith David.
That's spot. Why is he saying his own name?
Ah, that's the shit. All right, all right. What other characters do we want to talk about? There's the clown himself.
The Violator.
The Violator. Yeah, you mentioned the clown that he's
Yes.
dealt with before.
Yes, and so we should probably also pull up a version of what he truly looks like the
Mhm.
real look of the Violator. He's one of the demons, I guess, that's sent by Malboja
Mhm.
to watch over Spawn. You tell me what you thought of him, because
Yeah.
he's like a
he's
Different character.
yeah, he's a weird character, right?
he is,
He's,
and we get very weird scenes.
yeah. Honestly, like okay, so there's the storytelling part of this where he felt like Spawn's handler in the real world. It's like, oh, if Spawn's
Mhm.
alive, this guy's like his handler, sent by like the demon that Spawn made the deal with. But like, there's also like,
But not a handler in a way where he helps him.
no,
Like,
no.
right? Like
It
he
seems
does
like
not, like he tries to create more chaos,
chaos,
which is
yeah,
interesting.
like he's trying to nudge Spawn to a certain direction, and he's trying to like cause chaos in order to like help him do that. But like,
And by the way, in the comics, it's a bit more obvious that he's doing that, because he starts to manipulate events happening.
we do see that
in the
towards
real world.
we do see that towards like the end of this season where he
Yes,
where he
he
directs
takes like a
certain people to,
specific
yeah.
role. Yeah,
But in my opinion, he was like some of the funniest parts of the series. Like he brought the entertainment. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. Like I feel like if I watched this as a kid, I would have hated him. But like
Mhm.
watching him as an adult now, it's like, yeah, this guy's having fun with it. You know, like
yeah,
he's just going out there like wrecking shit, and it's like, oh, it's fun. Do you want to do this?
yeah. It's so funny, and I love I love that you know, like people always draw parallels to Spawn and Batman. They're like, oh, both like dark, brooding, like,
Mhm.
and then they both have like clowns as their like
yeah,
kind
they're
of like
his
main villain,
antagonist. Yeah.
but they are so different. I mean, like
Mhm.
the fact this guy's a clown is
Nothing to do with it. Like he's a clown because people are afraid of clowns because clowns are
yeah,
creepy.
exactly. Yeah, and he leans into that aspect of it.
Also, I find it super annoying that he leaves his pants open, and it's
Yeah.
like.
It's because he has like a big belly. He's like
Yeah.
very gluttonous, you know,
Yeah,
like
for
he has
sure.
that like yeah, it's so funny. Um,
I do like his clown form more than like his actual demon form. It's just like
yeah. But you know, like what's interesting is you kind of mentioned it a little bit, is like we see it near the end of the show, the end of the season, where he starts to like manipulate events, and the way that we see that is through the priest character, right? Who is like kidnapping kids, and you know, is strapped with some explosives and stuff like that. This doesn't happen in the comics.
Oh, that's
This
all.
character does not, as far as I remember, this character is not in the comics.
This character was really cool, like especially the reveal. We'll
Yeah.
just let's finish off with some of the main characters we want to highlight here, and then we'll.
Yeah,
jump-
I agree. I just wanted to mention that this is part of a manipulation that you see in the show that's not in the comics, and it's done differently in the comics.
Cool.
Okay, but let's jump back to characters and talk about my favorite. I mean, there are two characters, but one of them is my favorite character in the entire Spawn series. Can you guess who that is?
Knowing you, it would be Twitch.
Oh, 100%. I love Twitch. I would watch an entire series like just about Twitch. I love Twitch so much.
Speaking of Batman parallels, Sam and Twitch feel like Batman and Alfred of this universe. You know, they're trying to uncover a
Yeah.
mystery and.
Yeah, Burke, like Sam, reminds me so much of what's his name?
Harvey Bullock.
Harvey Bullock, yes.
Yeah.
It's like so much like that's like the eating donuts,
Eating
and being,
donuts
like,
on the crime
annoyed
scene and
with
shit, yeah.
paperwork and stuff. Yeah.
No,
What's by the way, what's like a departure slightly from the comics is actually it's not really a departure. It's just done differently. But yeah, like the Twitch's sarcasm, like you know what I mean, and like his constant bickering, like.
is it
in
just
the
because
comics-
it's conveyed a bit better with like the voice acting?
No, in the comics, it's done more.
Oh, more.
Like he's constantly like Twitch is constantly being sarcastic, and he's constantly like making fun of Sam.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And Sam is also portrayed to be a very good detective in the comics, but in the show it kind of leans more on like he's an idiot who's like being dragged behind Twitch.
Yeah, it
Right?
might be a thing where like they actually got inspiration from Harvey Bullock's depiction in the animated
Yeah.
series, and they were like, "Hey, this is a character, this is an archetype that people are familiar with. Let's bring it to this."
Yeah, it could be that. It could also be like they wanted to like make people think one thing and then slowly like show them that he's a deeper character.
Yeah.
It was a short season, so they probably didn't have enough time to like do that, but they were setting the groundwork maybe for future characterization. I guess we'll know that if we ever watch season 2.
2, yeah. We'll see. Maybe if you guys like this, let us know.
Yeah. So I kind of like hijacked this because Twitch is my favorite character. But what did you think of these two characters?
It's similar to like the clown, the Violator. Those like whenever they were on screen, I was tied in. I was like, oh, I like their dynamic. I like them trying to like put the pieces together and figure out what's happening. They were like part of like the entertaining factor of this episode of the season. You know, like
Yeah.
you see them bicker, you see them try to like put the clues in together, and you're like. And none of the evidence that they're going through, or none of the stuff feels like a lot of times in detective, when you're writing detective, they give them like leaps, and it's like, oh, how did they come up with that conclusion, right? But like in this case, it felt like very right,
Grounded.
like yeah, they're very grounded
Yeah.
in their approach.
I wish there was more of them because there's more of them in the comics, and like I said, they're my Twitch is my favorite characters. I wish there was more of them in the show. It felt like in the show they were a little bit like sidelined, which I understand because screen time seems to be like a
They
valuable.
didn't show up too much. When you told me that you wanted to talk about them, I was like, oh, they were there, but they were enjoyable, but like they didn't like show up that much, you know?
Yeah, they're definitely like one of the like secondary protagonists of the series, and they even have their own comic book series
Oh,
on
actually?
Twitch.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah.
so like they're big, you know what I mean? And
honestly,
they play a big role too.
Honestly, I'd probably check that one out more than Spawn. they felt like
Really?
they had like a cool dynamic.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
So episode 1, we meet Al. He's at the alley. He's a spawn, like a devil spawn. We don't know what that is. He's out there, and Hellspawn. Oh yeah, Hellspawn.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we meet the homeless crew that will grow on to be his family.
Mhm.
And it's like, hey, the spawn is here. We don't know what's happening. We see glimpses of some of his origins. We see some stuff, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, it's like very like even visually like it's
Yeah.
like jarring. Like you get scenes of him walking, then suddenly he's like screaming and he's like remembering stuff. It's flashing on the
yeah, there's
screen.
fire, there's stuff, and it's like, hey, what's
Yeah,
happening?
it's also like a mix of reality and non-reality.
Yeah.
Like he sees some stuff that's obviously like vision, right? It's not really a memory per se or anything like that. Yeah, it's really interesting.
One thing that they did say, but I felt like they could have emphasized a bit more, is the fact that like he's been dead for 5 years, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Like
But
life
it
has
takes
moved
him
on.
time, right, to
Yeah.
discover it. And I think in the show he like kind of like falls to his knees. It's like 5 years or something like that, and he
Yeah.
starts to like kind of like go crazy about it.
And then this gives us one of my favorite scenes, which is like Spawn in daylight, just hiding behind a tree with a beanie and a trench coat.
Man, like it's like I think it's a meme. It's like sad Spawn or something like that,
Yeah.
where his face is like really sad.
and then like when his wife drives off, it's just like curled down in a baby in fetal position, just like crying, and it's like it's hilarious. It's like, yeah, this big, like someone who's never seen Spawn before, aside of like what you see in actual media, and then you actually see this show, it's like, oh no, this guy actually has feelings. This guy's depressed. This guy's going through shit.
It's so funny. It's so funny. And he has like green eyes, you know. Like I don't think the trench coat and the beanie are gonna hide you.
Like the thing is, he's on the other side of the road, so presumably there's like a neighbor's house there. Like I'm picturing the neighbors just looking out the window, and they're like, "Yo, who's this guy?"
Wait, no, he's in the other side of the park. Though.
Oh yeah,
Because
there's a
maybe
park
you see
across
him
the
interact.
yeah.
So it's like a big park, but when they show us like a wider perspective, you see like there's not much going on in that park except for like those three trees. So like,
Trees,
it would
yeah.
stand out, you know, that there's someone in the tree. It was funny. It was a funny
Yeah.
like you had to suspend a little bit to
Yeah,
to
but like it's
enjoy that.
it's part of the charm of the show, you know. It's like
100%.
it gives it this early '90s feel where it's like, hey, it's stylized, it's cool, but like we'll also do like random stuff, and this is this is the type of stuff that I live for in comics, you know. Just give me the
Yeah,
campy
yeah.
stuff. I love this. Yeah, we also get introduced to other characters like Tony Twist.
Wanda, Terry,
sorry,
Cyan, the baby. Yeah,
we talked
yeah.
about all of these, but like the instigating factor is there's a news reporter who's picked up news about someone's child. We don't know who that person is. Tony Twist has sent mobsters to go kill that person. They kill them. They run into Spawn. Spawn gets rid of them, and that's when the story starts. Honestly, the first episode, it took me a bit to get adjusted to like the art style, but like it hooked me. It was like, okay, I want to see where this is going. Like
There was also like sound like sound problems in the first episode. I don't know if you remember, like they were like whispering in the beginning. Like I don't know, there was like weird like volume issues for me, and that kind of took me out of it the first time I watched it. But
Yeah, I did notice that too. Like even with the voiceover, it felt like the voices didn't really match the animation that much, and it felt like someone's talking in a booth and then the animation's playing. This does
exactly.
get rectified later on in the season, and it gets a lot better. But like, yeah, for the first episode, it feels like this was the pilot, and they just repurposed it a bit to actually be the first episode.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Especially those like specific scenes near the beginning of the first episode too.
And so this is another thing, is we get Todd McFarlane's vignettes at the beginning of the episode, but we also get like a monologue from the narrator at the end, and it's like, yeah, let's drive this thing home. I do think that the narrator monologues do start getting shorter and a bit more concise.
Yeah, they
but
do.
like, yeah, in the first episode it was pretty long, and it was like, hey, maybe you're not sure of this character, but let's talk about it. Let me give you the context here.
Yeah.
There's also like other stuff where it's like we get like random cutaways here and there, and it's like feels kind of random, but like it also feels very 90s. Which
But I don't know if you noticed, by the way, but the narrator, I don't know why I said it like that. The narrator is one of the characters in the
He's like the old homeless guy.
Yeah.
All right, then Spawn goes to like his own grave to check if he's alive or not, and he digs in to see his body there, and we get this really cool scene where like we see Spawn and his body, and then they switch places too, and it's such a cool scene.
It's one of those things that it's like profound storytelling, because you have him talk to himself and kind of go like what did you expect, like who did you think you were, like did you think you're gonna go to heaven, like
Yeah.
Like why are you shocked, like why are you so shocked? And then he's like, no, like get off of me, like who are you, you're not like, It's just so interesting to see him battle himself and like his own perception of like what
who he is.
exactly.
Reality has actually shown up at this point, right? He also grabs like his ring from the corpse, which becomes like a anchor point to him.
An important thing for the
story
later episodes. Yeah.
And that's basically the gist of episode 1. We also get introduced to the clown, and he mocks Spawn a bit, tells him that, hey, you're here for a mission, don't forget that.
Hey Spawn,
you're here for a mission, don't forget that.
he says something like, he's like, get with the fucking program. Get with the program, Spawn. It's really funny.
Episode 2 is when the show starts to like pick up. Like we get to see some of the bad guys around, but there's like hints at like some ice cream man that might be a bit nefarious. There's we get more visuals on Rat City, the homeless people. There's the old homeless guy, which you hinted at being the narrator, and then like some themes get touched here. Where like we hear the clown talking about, hey, there's a war coming between heaven and hell, which I'm really interested about. What's happening here,
Mm-hmm. It's one of the most interesting aspects of the show, where like how it frames, like it's in universe, like Judgment Day and stuff like that. Like Judgment Day is basically an all-out war between the forces of heaven and hell, where life is like the human souls are basically the prize of that war, and like you have these two sides that when people die, they either go fight for one or the other.
Oh, interesting.
Like, yeah, it's very cool, cool stuff.
One thing that I do find it, like I forgot to mention about the first episode, that happens every single episode at the end, is some sort of countdown clock. I'm presuming that's going to count down to the war. Maybe, I don't know.
No, I'll answer it because it's not like very clear. So Spawn is spawned with a certain amount of power, and as he's going through, he's using up that power, and he learns very quickly. And we see it in the season where at one point he's like, nah, I gotta stop using my power. I gotta like rely on my instincts and my time as a soldier and start using guns and stuff like that, which by the way makes him so interesting to me as a character, because he is this super powerful and has all these powers, and like half the time he just relies on his skills, like his skills as a spec ops soldier, right? Like, so this countdown is basically the amount of power he has, and when it runs out, he goes back to Malboja and has to lead his army, because this power is basically what Malboja gave him to send him back to Earth to be with his wife, which was part of the deal that he cut with him.
Cool. Just a quickie, this isn't explained in the show.
I don't think it's definitely not explained in season 1, but in the comics it's fairly clear. I wouldn't say it's a spoiler because there's never a time where they're like, "That's what this counter is," like
Okay.
it's never stated like that.
That's actually really cool. That's like, it's like, oh, it's like a video game. You see like the health bar, and it's like, hey, once this runs out, you're out. So okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, Spawn isn't in the mortal world because of like he's not there on a time basis. He's there on like an energy basis, I guess, like how much you can use.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
that's actually a cool concept. By the end of the episode, we get into like one of my favorite scenes, which is Spawn fighting the Violator. And
Yeah.
what I really like about the scene is that, yeah, we talked about how this show has like high line mileage and it's hard to animate. So they make up with like stylization. And they were like, hey, let's change the tone, let's change the coloring. There's some workarounds, some like they cut corners in specific ways that we see where it's like, hey, they cover stuff in shadow and stuff, but like you get to see, like, it doesn't take away from the plot. There's still like you can still enjoy scenes.
Did you notice the thing about the Violator's eyes where it's like as he moves, it's almost as if there's a canvas behind him.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And he moves, the canvas doesn't.
Yeah, it's still canvas, and like, yeah, I know what you mean. It's like,
and I think that created such a weird and really cool effect.
Yeah,
I loved it.
It's like he's looking from the underworld or
it was super cool to see that going, and it just got me excited about like that being brought to life. In the comic, that fight is interesting because it goes differently. So in the show here, like the Violator dominates. Like,
yeah, like
right?
he's clearly winning. He clearly wins this.
Yeah, in the comics, the Violator starts winning, and then Spawn kind of gets like pissed off and like fights back hard, and you see the Violator go like get surprised a little bit by how powerful he is, and then the Violator basically goes like, okay, that's it, like
I'm out.
You don't deserve this. So he like tears Spawn's heart out, and that's the Violator's thing in the comics. Is he goes around tearing people's hearts out. So he does it, and then Spawn is like survives that, and then the Violator is like, what? Like, how did you survive that? And then Spawn basically like beats the Violator up, and then the Violator just stops fighting, and he's like frustrated, and he's like an employee frustrated with his boss.
Because he's given Spawn too much power.
Yeah, he's like, oh, like you gave him all this power, and like you didn't even prep me for this, and like you didn't tell me that this guy's this, and then they like fight some more, and then Maboja comes, and he just
Maboja actually shows up at this point.
Yeah, and he like smacks them both, and he's like, hey, shut up and get in line, both of you, or there'll be bad consequences. You listen to him, you take control of him, like
okay,
yeah.
After fighting the Violator, the old homeless guy comes in and he talks to Spawn, ominously kind of like tells him that, hey, a war is coming, you'll need to like pick a side. And that's what we touched upon, where it's like, hey, that's their judgment day, something's gonna happen, we'll see what happens. And I'm really intrigued about this. I want to know what's gonna happen. Like, I do know plot points about Spawn, but like I don't know what the story is. So I don't know.
It's really hard to even know plot points about Spawn because so much happens.
Yeah.
Like whatever I can only imagine is like such a small piece of like the overall story. Because what's interesting about Spawn is like he keeps evolving as a character. Like right now, it's all about who am I? Oh no, Wanda. Blah, blah, like, but that will evolve. Then it'll be like, oh, there's a war, and then it'll be like, okay, but inside the war there are players, and then wait, there's stuff happening in the world, and then there's like so much that keeps happening. So like the story keeps like the more like like when you open one door, there's like 10 behind it. Like
it's like Pandora's box. It just keeps
exactly
spilling out. Yeah.
Exactly. And the comics are like that, and the show is trying to keep up with that and show all of that. So it really does feel like that. And in season 1, you get some questions answered, but like you said, like it's like hinting at much bigger and larger stuff.
Yeah, my favorite philosopher once said that like Spawn is like an onion. There's layers to him. Very deep.
Is your favorite philosopher Shrek?
Yeah, he's green.
Ogres are like onions.
Ogres are like onions. Yeah.
Spawn too.
Spawn too. Yeah, he was specifically talking about Spawn in the story, and I was like,
makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Episode 3, we get introduced to Overkill.
Yeah. Who is like an overkill in every aspect. Like
he's
like
huge. He's decked out in weapons and stuff. I honestly,
he's like, I'm gonna eat his heart or something like that. Like he says some stuff like that too.
Like he actually, like, I think he beats Spawn in the first encounter, and then like Spawn comes back and like gets his vengeance after like.
So something subtle happens in the show, like it's treated subtly, but in the comics it's a bit of a bigger deal, which is that Spawn is losing the fight, and then he damages Overkill's sensors.
Yeah,
so Overkill thinks he's dead. So he leaves him, and that's how
Oh,
Spawn
okay.
like basically.
I did not catch that when I was watching this. I thought
Yeah.
it was just.
So yeah, that's why he leaves him. He doesn't just leave him for dead, right? Like
Mhm.
he just sees that he's dead and leaves him and walks away. But in the comics, it's a bit more clear that that's
Yeah.
the case. But yeah, that's why Spawn manages to survive that first encounter.
It might just be that I'm dumb. I didn't realize it, but like, yeah, that's a cool
No, it
characterization.
wasn't as clear.
Yeah. That's also like a cool characterization aspect to it, showing how ingenuitive Al is.
Yeah, he's a soldier, right?
Yeah.
He's a strategist, and that's why Malboja wants him for his army. That's why he's willing to cut a deal with him, and so on. It's all these factors that he's like an elite level strategist and soldier.
Yeah. And then we get like some cool animations with Spawn with some lightning effects and stuff. And then Spawn gets his get back, goes to Overkill, gets rid of him, just shoots him up and ends him. I honestly thought Overkill was gonna play a bigger part in this story, but
They subverted that
yeah,
by like
completely.
making it the big bad who wins, and then Spawn comes back so quickly. So you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Spawn doesn't need to grow. He just needs to learn
Yeah.
what his true power is, right?
Do we see more of him in the comics?
No, it's pretty much
No,
the
same
same.
thing. Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought he was a bigger character. Just yeah.
I don't know if he's in the larger Image universe or
Mhm.
if he comes back later, like much later in the comics.
I
wouldn't
feel
know.
like in this show, it feels pretty definitive that he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from what I remember in the comics, it's pretty definitive.
Then we also get a scene where Spawn breaks into like a military facility and steals weapons, which comes back later on in the story.
Because he realizes that his power is being used up, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, like I think the old man says something to him, or the Violator. I can't remember who specifically, but like he kind of like pieces one and two together. He's like, I don't need to rely on these powers. They're taxing every time I use them. They're finite, so I'm going to rely on my own, like my old ways.
Yeah, his old ways.
Yeah.
His instincts. And then he gets like cornered in this military facility, and it's like, oh, how's he gonna get out of here?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he just teleports, and it's like, oh wow, I didn't know that was like a Spawn power. But like,
Yeah.
it's interesting. But we only see it once this season. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Again, all these things when they show up in the comics, the explanation for them is very direct, whereas in the show it isn't. So I'm gonna avoid like explaining this one here.
Yeah.
But there's a good reason for it. It's not just like like some random
Teleportation.
event that happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a good explanation for it, and it is one of his powers though. But yeah, it's like it's nice that it's being like drip fed to us. It's not like all at once or like the show versus tell kind of thing. I really like that.
And then we meet the Chapel. It's also implied that he killed Spawn he killed like Al Simmons, if I'm understanding
Yes.
it correctly. He's working for Win now. Win needs an enforcer. They realize that, hey, there's something happening with this alley. Spawn actually went and visited Tony Twist and just told him to
Yeah, it
stay,
doesn't like I warned you 100 times, like stay out of this.
stay out of this, right? And now this guy, the enforcer, is here, and we'll see where this story goes, right?
Yeah.
Episode 4. Episode 4 starts off with some rough animation. We run into this character who I think her name is Angela. She's like a hunter or something. She refers to herself as a hunter. And yeah, the fight scene there, like there's a fight scene where like two muggers try to like get her, and like some of the wonkiest animation I've seen. Like they heavily rely on like flash hits and stuff, like where you have impact frames. That's fine.
Yeah, I think because they were also showing really like violent stuff. I think they wanted to avoid it being very like motion filled. You know what I mean? Like there's some like vulgar stuff that's going on.
But like also like impact frames are also there to like help cut corners and stuff. But like it felt it felt very funny. But like it was a characterization to this character. Like I think we only see her in this episode, like the earlier part of this episode, and not again. But like I'm intrigued. I want to know like, hey, she seems like she's trying to go after Spawn. We don't know too much. She went to a place that felt very saturated, so I'm assuming she's like from heaven. I'm not sure, but like also
her name should be a very like big hit.
Oh yeah, Angela, right?
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued here. I want to know what's happening. We see Wanda in her element. We see her try to like solve a case. She's a lawyer. She figures out that hey, her client has been framed for this, and there's strings attached. There's a lot of stuff happening, and she's trying to figure out what's in there. She meets up with her cop friend at the park, and they start.
That's when we get the sad spot.
Yeah, this is probably another one of my favorite scenes where it's like, it kind of like plays off the first scene where he's behind the tree, but like.
So actually, the first scene, you're right. He is across the street and he is watching them, and then in this scene, he's kind of doing the same thing again, and he's like,
but like he's not the only one watching Wanda and the cop. There's another person who's taking pictures and probably up to nefarious for reasons why he's following them.
Well, we know why he's doing it. Spawn doesn't, obviously, but we know because Wim says like, "Oh, we need like, why is this lawyer like looking into it? Like, send somewhere to find out like what she's doing and stuff."
And then Spawn just grabs him in the middle, broad daylight, between trees, just grabs him up, chokes him, and like kills him. And no one,
his chains come down and like wrap around this guy and like lift him into the tree. Like, it's so funny.
And it's like, it's in broad daylight in the middle of the park, and no one realizes it. But like, it was a gruesome death though. Like, he breaks his arm and just drops him. The guy just decides to like end himself. You know, it's like, oh, but like, it was really one of those moments where it's like, hey, this is what I come here for. This is fun, right? Midway through episode 4 is when I realized, hey, there's a lot of stuff happening here. There's multiple plot points. Things are in motion, like gears are moving, and it's like, hey, this is interesting. This is where I think episode 4 is what actually hooked me. Like, the first few episodes were interesting and I liked them, but like episode 4 is where I felt like, hey, I'm actually invested in this plot. There was like,
and it's very interesting because what happens, like, and Todd McFarlane has said it multiple times. He says the world of Spawn is a story that I'm writing, and Spawn is just a play, like one of the gears. Here, he just happens to be the protagonist of the story, but he is not the story. Like, the story doesn't revolve around Spawn the way that other comic books characters' story revolves around them. Like, I immediately draw parallel to Batman. It feels like a lot of what happens in Gotham is because of Batman. A lot of his rogues gallery do things because of Batman. But in this story, there's a whole like already interesting like conspiracy, government, like mob like thing, and Spawn is just
if you take Spawn out of it, a lot of the stuff will happen the same way. Maybe more people will die or different people are gonna die, but like a lot of the story.
But what to me is interesting is it feels like Spawn is there randomly, which he is. But what's amazing is that the other players in the story are also reacting to this random force that's doing things like you know, he's like wiping out like this guy who's like watching Wanda. Like to Wim, that makes no sense. You see him go like, I don't understand like how she's getting away with all this stuff. Like why are there's like this hidden player involved and we don't know who he is and what he's capable of, and how come this hidden player is capable of killing Overkill and like protecting Wanda and being here. But like Wim understands how those dots connect, right? Because he understands how they all play into the conspiracy.
He's got like a bigger picture. He's got like a
but he's not understanding how this other player
comes in
has these things. But the truth is, he doesn't. Like Spawn doesn't. It's just coincidence because he, you know, like he loves Wanda and he's Al Simmons and so on. It's just really interesting.
Yeah, like you mentioned, there's a bunch of characters at this point. There's like the clown. There's like Angela. There's Wanda, Tony Twist, Chapel. The homeless people.
Jason Wim.
Yeah, Jason Wim, the homeless people, the detectives, that child murderer that isn't
Billy Kincaid. Yeah.
And it's like,
there's a lot.
The senator too. And it's like, at this point, I felt invested. I was like, hey, there's a ton of plot points here. I want to know what's happening. I want to know where they converge. Where do they end? You know. We do get a bit of Spawn just being a bit more melodramatic. Like, I just love how he's like this. He's this hell Spawn, but he's also like really into his emotions.
He's depressed. Homie's going through it, man. Homie's going through it. Yeah, he's not dealing with it well, despite being super powerful, which I think is, you know, it's a good characterization.
It's a good character flaw, you know, to have it.
Yeah.
And then we also get like a couple of like will they won't they scenes with the homeless people. Like, are they gonna be friends? Are they not gonna be friends? And I think there's a scene where like not the narrator homeless guy, but like the main homeless guy, I call him. He goes to Spawn and he's like, hey, I have this week-old bread. Do you want some? You should eat. And so like, they're trying to like get to him. Like they realize that he's actually being depressed too, and they're trying to help him.
Yeah. And I remember one of them's like, oh, he's a freak or whatever, and he's like, did you look any better when you like ended up here? Like they genuinely don't realize this guy is like dead, and like that flesh is like rotting flesh, and he's like a demon hell.
Actually, that's really good characterization for the homeless because they are very empathetic towards Spawn. They do want to help him, and they do view him as one of their own, and I love that. It's really good.
Yeah, it really is special.
Yeah. Then episode 5 starts. We get the preacher with the grenades, which
and the mute kid.
Yeah, and the mute kid too. Yeah,
it's an interesting like thing that decision storytelling wise to make the kid like mute. Like I thought that was really weird.
They couldn't afford a kid to scream for like 5 episodes. They were like, let's just make him mute.
Instead, they made the music scream.
Yeah. Yeah. They should have used that for the kids. Yeah, so honestly, another one of my favorite scenes is when we first get introduced to the preacher, and it's like the cops are there and they're afraid, and we see like the preacher there, and he's talking. He's giving like this hard monologue, and then when the camera zooms out, it's like him sat on the hood of the car, just crisscrossed, holding the kid. Yeah, the preacher was a really fun character to watch. Not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like as a kid I wouldn't have liked him as much, but like similar to the clown, and there's a reason for that. I do like him as an adult because it's like it was,
Yeah, you get to see a bit more of the nuances of the character. Like to a kid, you're just like, oh, who's this creepy guy with this kid?
Mhm.
But like when you're like, watching this as an adult, you're like, oh, like there's more to this character, and he's like a bit. His mannerisms are off and in interesting ways, right?
Yeah. One thing that I do like is we see like Spawn being just depressed in the alley and stuff, and it's like, yeah, he's just this big boy just sulking in the alley. We've been talking about this like throughout the season. We've seen him get sad, but like at this point, he's like at peak depression, and it's like, yeah, he doesn't even want to deal with the preacher when he's there. Like he sees the preacher, he sees the grenades, and he's like, yeah, I honestly don't care. I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
Then like,
Which is, by the way, against the characterization of Spawn in the comics. And that's why I said like this isn't there in the comics. He's very like I protect this alley, and these people are my people, and this is my family. And, like I'll deal with whatever happens here. So it was interesting to me, from someone who has already read the comics, to see this happen the
Like,
way that it did.
honestly, now that you mention it, like a big part of like this season to me is like it felt like Spawn did not have a purpose, and I think that's like by choice, but like it really felt like
Yeah.
it felt like this guy made a deal with the devil to go back to Earth, and then realized that like, oh,
To be with his wife.
Yeah,
That's the
see-
thing. I want to go see Wanda again. What's the deal?
and then like he just got screwed because like he's there and like, oh, you made a bad deal, now you're just stuck here doing nothing, and it felt very interesting to me. It's like, yeah, he's depressed. Then we get like a cop come into the alley, and the situation escalates, and he starts shooting people.
Yeah.
Another scene that I really love in this episode is it feels like Spawn has a sense of humor. We've seen Spawn get shot and like fight with the overkill and stuff, and he handles it pretty well. The cop shoots him, and like Spawn pretends to die. He just falls over. It's like the only reason you do that is because he wants to mess with him. It's like it's one of the funniest scenes I've seen. It's like
I think a part of it too is like he's unsure like what he can, like he's not
Yeah.
used to it, So he gets shot and he's like, oh yeah, like wait a minute.
yeah, this doesn't do me. He just goes back, and probably one of the funniest scenes of the show, honestly. Like there's a lot of funny
never even
scenes.
thought of that.
Yeah, and then the cops corner the preacher. We don't know what's happening. The preacher gets shot in the head.
The head.
Yeah, and I was like, oh damn. And it felt like the situation got resolved without Spawn's involvement. Until the preacher stands up again, and I'm like, oh shit, what's happening here, right? Then that's when Spawn, like, the preacher, like, pulls all of his grenades, and that's when we see that Spawn actually save the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then...
But before that, he gets a speech, right, from the narrator, old man, who's like, oh, like, what are you choosing to do nothing? He's like, oh, he didn't ask. And then the narrator's like, he's mute. And then he's like, like he doesn't...
How is he gonna have,
And then he ends up saving him.
Yeah, and then the reveal that the preacher was the clown was amazing. It was like one of those where it's like, I didn't see it coming. I thought like, we've seen enough bad people in this world that I thought this was just like another one of them. But like, yeah, no, it's the clown. We also see throughout the episode that the clown goes and talks to the ice cream man, Billy Kincaid.
Billy Kincaid, yeah.
Billy Kincaid. Yeah, he goes and talks to the ice cream man, Billy Kincaid, and he's like, hey, go to this address at a specific moment. And then on the other side of the story, Wanda's playing with her kid, Cyan. She has to go pick up the phone because her cop friend got killed. And then realizes that Cyan is missing. She got kidnapped. And honestly, bro, that scene was terrifying. That was like, of all
it
the
felt
scenes,
natural.
yeah,
too.
it felt
It
real.
wasn't like dramatized.
Yeah, it felt real. It felt,
there was no music cue. It was just like suddenly while she was on the phone, she like looked around. She's like, Cyan, and then she like doesn't even hang up the phone.
yeah, she just runs.
She just lets go and is like, yeah.
So Cyan got kidnapped by one of Tony Twist's guys, and then Billy shows up, and that's like even more messed up. Like honestly, I was terrified.
Billy shows up to the address where
Tony's guys
Tony
took.
Twist's guys took Cyan.
Yeah,
because that's the address
that the clown gave him.
The Violator gave him. Yeah.
And honestly, like first of all, that kind of implies that the clown has like some sort of omnipotence that he can either see or predict the future, or maybe he was spying on them and knew where they were doing it. But like honestly, like just seeing Billy there with Cyan was terrifying. It was one of those things where I was like,
Like you got to see that Billy was more than like someone who just overpowers children. He was like, he went there and he like dominated Tony Twist's men.
Yeah, like
Like,
in this episode it was just one guy that he just butchered real quick off camera and just went in, and I was like it was one of those scenes where I'm like, this is effed up. Like, you know, I want to see where this goes, but like I also don't want to see where this goes, you know.
yeah, 100%.
So yeah, this takes us to the finale, episode 6. We've got Spawn, Cyan is with Billy. More of the Tony Twist guys come over, and like Billy just wrecks them real quick, kidnaps Cyan, takes her to her place, and there's an investigation going. We get a lot more of Sam and Twist. They start talking about like, hey,
Twitch.
yeah, Sam and Twitch, sorry.
Yeah.
They start talking about like, hey, oh yeah, Tony Twist. Yeah,
Yeah.
they start talking about like putting the clues together, figuring out what's happening, and that's when they actually
Twitch is listening to like phone calls from the senator, and then he realizes that the senator's talking to someone about his son, and his son needs to be brought. And then he realizes that Billy Kincaid, the
senator's
the ice truck killer?
yeah,
That's
the
like
ice cream man.
the ice cream man. He realizes that's
Yeah,
the
that's the senator's son.
son.
Yeah. One thing that Billy did where he shot a guy, one of Twist's guys, but like he did not die. So he informs Twist about Billy. They were able to like track his address down, but like also Spawn was able to like get Twist and figure out where Billy is. So Spawn goes there, tries to save Cyan. An altercation happens. The cops are there. Explosions. Everything's chaotic now. You know, Billy's like running away. They like kidnaps Cyan, runs away, and coincidentally gets to the alley where all the homeless people are. It's like the one spot that like gravitates everyone there, right?
Yeah. And I think the narrator mentions something, by the way. He mentions like every hellspawn gets drawn to a certain location, and it's usually they're a place of power that people don't know about. So like it's I think no coincidence that things keep going back to that alley.
Yeah, there's something mystical about it for sure.
Yeah.
And then
So he ends up Billy ends up there with Cyan, who he's kidnapped. What I found hilarious about this, and it's another one of those like funny things that you mentioned, is the fact he was able to like outrun or like outdrive cops in an ice cream truck. Like,
yeah, it's like huge, and it's like it's almost on fire.
I doubt it has
Spawn
like
is on top of
engine,
it. You can see his cape just flowing, and it's like,
oh man, that was a really funny scene.
Yeah, they make it into the alley, and then there's the final confrontation. Spawn doesn't actually kill Billy, right? If I'm remembering correctly. Like,
I think he does.
I thought the clown goes back and kills him.
Oh yeah, Spawn basically freaks him out, scars him mentally.
And he's able to save Cyan. Cyan goes back to her family.
But before that, like you see this, like you said, the Violator go to Billy, and he's like, "Oh, like you were such a disappointment, and whatever," and he like shoots him in the head.
Yeah, and it implies that there's more plans coming up from the Violator.
The Violator.
Yeah. Cyan runs back to her family, sees her mom, drops the funniest line of the show. She was like, "Oh, the sad man saved me," which is true, you know.
It's funny that he's a demon in this like big costume, and she could still see that he was just sad.
Sad, yeah.
And she kind of like holds her mom, and her mom's like crying, and then she notices Cyan's holding something.
Yeah.
And then she opens her hand up, and she sees it's the wedding ring.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, like Al," or something like that. And then she kind of like brushes it over and just like.
I thought she might have thought that Al was back or something.
I mean, maybe, but like it was like, to me, it was a bit of an underwhelming thing. The other thing that was really funny is to me about this was the fact that Spawn dug up his own body, mutilated it. Yeah, like he like threw it. Took the ring, and Wanda hears nothing about it.
Yeah, like your husband's grave has been dug up, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought she would like hear about it.
Listen, she was busy with her court case. You know, she's got like a ton of court cases. She's doing pro bono right now, so cut the woman some slack. You know.
That's true. Yeah, I just thought that was funny. Yeah. But yeah, all right. So to wrap things up, I have a question for you. Would you want to watch a season 2?
Honestly, I would. I'm intrigued now. Like, Spawn isn't the character I thought he was before I went in, and in a good way.
And he remains.
Yeah.
Me, there's a lot more, which begs the question: like, what's your expectation of season 2? You know, like, what are you thinking about?
Honestly, like, I don't have predictions because I feel like this show is really hard to predict. But like, I'm intrigued about Chapel. I want to see that. I also feel like there's a confrontation coming at some point. Hunter, like the Hunter woman, Angela. I want to know what that's about. Like, I'm assuming she's an angel, but maybe like what's there? What's intriguing about Spawn at this point? I want to know more. I want to know more about like the war. Like, we're implying that there's a war coming. I don't know if we'll get to see it in this show, but like it's something that I do want to see. Yeah, there's a lot. Like they've laid a lot of plot threads here that I don't know where they go, and I do want to see where they end up. What about you? Like rewatching this show this season, did anything
Yeah.
change? Has your perspective shifted a bit?
I think having read the comics, um, and like the first time I watched the show, I was still reading like a lot of the comics, everything. So things were a bit like fresher in my mind and differences and so on. And when I watched it, by the way, it had already like finished. So I'd watched all 3 seasons in
In one
like
go.
one shot. Yeah. So seeing them now like separated like this, and I think seeing them and thinking about how you would think, you know what I mean? Like as someone who doesn't know much about the character, I had a newfound appreciation for the changes that were made. It's very rare that changes get made to source material and comic book fans like it. Usually they're like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
I felt like, you know what? This was all interesting changes. I wouldn't say they're better. I wouldn't say they're worse. I just think that they were changed to form a certain narrative, and I think that narrative was well crafted. And so to me, that was great. I think the animation was also more bearable now. I don't know why. You think it would have the opposite effect.
Yeah, you've
but
already set yourself that. You've already told yourself that the animation was a bit wonky, so going in a second time made it.
yeah, exactly. I would love to see this show get like the same treatment that like X-Men 97 got, like where it's like you continue it in a similar style,
Similar
but
art style,
improved
yeah,
and,
but a
and
bit more, yeah.
that would be great. But yeah, it did the character justice. It was shorter than I would have liked. Like I think the arc of season 1 was too short. I think there needed to be more, but
they did cover a lot over 6 episodes.
So it's interesting to me how much they managed to cover, but still
leave a lot of plot.
Exactly, leave a lot of plot. So yeah.
No, honestly, like this show is an acquired taste. It's not for everyone. It's
100%.
it's very graphic. It's very adult. It's very hard R, but like it is enjoyable. Like I would recommend it, especially if you get
Definitely.
once you adjust to the animation style. It's honestly like a good story.
Yeah, and I think he's Spawn himself is such a unique character that like if you're a fan of superheroes and villains and comic book characters and you haven't explored the world of Spawn, it is going to feel fresh because it feels more mystical and magical than a lot of superheroes normally do. So it's just it's in this weird in between place between like heroes and fantasy.
Yeah,
and it's really really good.
It really is that where it's like you feel like Spawn is magical, but like he also heavily relies on like machine weaponry and stuff, like guns and stuff, and it's like like he's got his magical cape and chains, but like he's also got like pistols and machine guns and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so this is our retro for season 1 of Spawn.
If you guys enjoyed it and you want us to watch season 2, drop it in the comments, give it a like, share this video with your friends who have seen it, haven't seen it. It was really like jumping in a time machine and watching something that blast from the past. So, and we both seem interested in watching a season 2. So hopefully we'll get the chance to do that and we'll get to share our thoughts with that share our thoughts on that with you as well.
And let us know in the comments what other shows we should do retros on.
Absolutely. There's so many old but gold shows. And there's also like a lot of like trash that was released.
There's also new shows that are really good that got canceled too soon that might be interesting to
that's
do.
True.
Yeah,
that's
but like
true.
we love both the trash and the good stuff. So give us your recommendations. All right. Have a good one, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Welcome to Title Issues, where the comics glow.